Okay guys, we have the twin Yamaha 250s. You can do the twin 300s if you want on this boat. She's about 4.4 tons light ship and 564 odd litres of fuel, and we have filled her up. And full disclosure, we filmed the drone footage about an hour and a half ago, and the sea has actually calmed down. We were a little bit low on fuel, so we didn't want to, we wanted to play it safe, so we went back for fuel. But I think some of the footage you're going to see through camera 1 and camera 2 is not as big a waves as we actually feature on the drone. But we will see what Mother Nature serves up. And so I've got my revs just here. I actually don't have my fuel flow here, so let's try that. There we go, got my fuel flow here in litres per hour. And I'm just going to get the boat up and moving in a second. And just going to watch this guy. He's trolling a fishing line. I don't want to get in the way of his Sunday morning fun. I think I can see where it is, so I'm going to go nice and wide. This is an operator's boat, and actually, here we go, let's get really comfortable. Boom, I love that feature, that's cool. Yeah, this is an operator's boat. We have been getting waves from all of the yachties out and about on the water this morning. That does not happen on every motorboat. Sometimes you just get looks, you don't get waves, and I could tell they were waves of appreciation. So people like this thing. It's a conversation starter. It's a proper boat. Let's get up, let's get moving. 3,700 RPM, 16 knots of climbing, and I'm just gonna, I don't have the trim tabs on auto, I've got them on manual, so I'm just gonna play with them a little bit because we are gonna come around the corner into the swell. Okay, 26 knots at 3,800 RPM. Just coming around the corner here. I'll close that door for noise levels, super comfy. And we will expose ourselves into whatever waves are left over in a second. And I'll start going into them, and then we'll go across the waves and down the waves. And then we're gonna relocate just across to another part of the waterway here where I believe there's going to be some totally flat water, and we'll do some completely wide open throttle stuff. Okay, here's whatever swell is left over from this morning, because there was some big wind blowing a couple of days ago now, and so we've just been trying to take advantage of that. Remember, we're carrying 2 cabins, a proper real cabin and a toilet down there, and another one down the back there. So if you are comparing this to an adventure boat, which maybe some of you will, she is a ton heavier than most of the competition, and she's much more substantial. So the question is, should you compare it to an adventure boat? And I would say, depending on your mission, probably not, because this is much more of a real vessel. She's solid as the construction is fiberglass with the timber over the top of it, so it's creating one big structure. Just coming into some of these waves here nicely, 3,800, 3,900 RPM, consuming 76 litres per hour, and she's handling it. I've got 2 tabs on the trim tab down. I've got the engines mostly down, going through a couple more. Really nice. So she displaces that water. I've got my windscreen wipers just here. I can tap that. I've got an inbuilt wash function. I can do a single wiper, I can do all 3, and if I hold down, I've got fresh water for the wash function, and I just feel safe right now. I feel safe and secure. If I wanted to transition to standing, I can slide this seat back, got heaps more space, but I think now that we've taken a few of these waves somewhat on the nose, let's take them on the beam. So there's no rattles. The furniture, the interior of the boat just feels really solid, and I'm still just maintaining a consistent speed here. It's not about full speed right now, it's more about seakeeping. Look at that, fantastic, excellent. All right, so we still do have some waves out here, which is great. So really just playing with my trim settings, leaving the engines at 3,800, and then watching and letting the hull do the rest of the work. I've still got 2 trim tabs down. I'm not a huge fan of this trim tab operation when it's in auto, so I prefer to have it on the manual setting because I think it's a little bit slow in terms of the reaction time for a boat of this design. That's no real fault of Sargo. I think it's just the actual unit itself. Oh, nice big one there, fantastic. And no rattles, excellent. Okay, let's bear away a little bit more. It's a confidence-inspiring vessel, this one. It's, I would have no qualms about taking this out in a really big storm on a rough day, or getting caught at a big storm and still getting home. Okay, let's increase our speed ever so slightly. We'll raise these trim tabs. The waves are coming from multiple directions, so it's not consistent. I'm at 4,100 RPM. We'll give the proper fuel flows when we do have an opportunity to get in the flat stuff, but I can see 91 litres consumption per hour right now and 28 knots. That's probably about my speed limit right now until I see the calmer conditions, because now I've got some waves on my bow, had some waves behind me, now I've got them on the bow, but she's handling it well. Lovely. Noise levels are minimal, even though these Yamahas are a noisier motor when you compare them to the Mercury. We're totally fine in here because the glass is giving us a good amount of insulation. I'm going to be coming back around pretty soon. I'm kind of enjoying myself out here. Workload's pretty minimal. Now it's getting a bit hot, so I want to crack that, have some air. And other thing worth noting, even though we are displacing quite a bit of water, and we need to do that, if you're going to fit cabins down in this part of the boat, you're going to have more fuller section forward, therefore you need to design a hull which can send the water out to the side. But just as demonstration, that timber is still dry. See that? So see how the water, as I go through these waves, my hand here, and I'll go into the waves. They're coming from a few directions. My hand's not getting wet. So yes, it's throwing the water up and around. It's going to be more on the really, really windy days and windy conditions when you would throw some of that water back onto the glass, which essentially doesn't matter because you can close it all up. But I don't see any water up on the sunroof. So I'd say in most conditions, if you didn't have the boat fitted with air conditioning and you wanted to have fresh air, it's not a drama just to set it on this second notch right here, and you can do that on both doors. And we've also got a single notch on the sunroof so we can get proper airflow, and that back window also open, so it's going to want to encourage air to be drawn through the boat, which is quite pleasant. Just sitting on 4,000 RPM, consuming 88 litres, speed return of 27 knots. Let's actually slow the boat down and just have a look at 23, because I was doing on the way over here in some swells 23, 24. There we go, 3,600 RPM, consuming 63 litres, and we're really happy there in that 21 to 23 knot range. I'll just have a play as we go through the waves. Fantastic. This is just a cool boat. This is a boat that it's a conversation starter, and you're going to fall in love with something like this. This is a boat that you would keep for a long time, in my opinion. You've probably had many boats before, and you're very clear on what you want to do in your stage of boat life, and perhaps you're in a part of the world where mooring a boat is a challenge, or just bigger moorings are not available, and so something like this is much more convenient. And here in Greece, the location where we picked this up this morning is fantastic. You can actually keep this boat on a trailer, and they will drop the boat in the water, a couple of nice waves, beautiful. They will pick the boat up, drop it in the water for you. You can have it all fueled and ready to go, and then they will collect it from the boat ramp, put it back, wash it down, put the shore power on and put the covers on, and you will not believe the price they charge. It's like equivalent to about 2 months in water storage in Sydney, Australia, is your annual fee for this place. It's incredible. I shouldn't tell too many people because it's really good. All right, we're gonna cross the waterway. We're gonna find the flat water section and we'll do some high speed operations, which, you know what, I think we can do right now. It's calmed down since an hour or so ago. So increasing 4,300 RPM, 29 knots, 100 litres consumption. Just going to trim the motors up a little bit, just feeling that through. 4,400, couple little waves here, so I'll just do a fast cruise. I'm not going to do wide open throttle yet. Nice, displacing that water. Just going to settle the bow down a little bit with a bit of trim there. Excellent. High speed cruise, I think, is the name of the game on this one. 28 knots, 4,400 RPM, 100 litres. You're really going to go places at that speed. And once again, feeling solid. Okay, I'm going to come in here. I know where I am from this location. And then I'm going to peel in and hug the rocks just over there. Okay, let's trim up. Clear, clear. Got some yachts up ahead coming in. Jeez, she's moving. 4,800, 32 knots. We've got a lot more left in the rev range. I'm sort of just picking my opportunities here. She's super lively. Nah, these waves are not suitable for a full wide open throttle, so I might actually have to try another location where I can get you some proper flat water and open it up. Could get lucky. Let's give it a go. Come on, feeling lucky. 5,300. 37 knots. Crikey, this is going to be a 40 knot boat. 38 knots. 187 litres. 39, 40 knots. 5,500. We're moving. This is going to be the end of our runway. 40 knots. She even lands quite comfortably. Okay, back into the waves. So she's definitely a 40 knot boat with these 250s. And I think from here, what we're going to need to do is find some shallower water, play with the anchoring setup. It's going to be super simple on a boat of this design because it's just there. But before we do, we might as well utilize our return part of this waterway to get you some moderate cruise speeds and fuel flows. Okay, so 3,600 to 3,700, 22 knots, 70 litres. 70 litres. Let's just get that 25 knots in flattish water. 4,000 RPM. That's showing us 24 to 20. There we go, 25 knots consistent there. Actually, 26 and climbing at 89 litres consumption. I've got a little bit of tap down at the moment just because some of the bouncy waves. And then 4,200 feels like a fast cruise. 28, 29, 4,400, 30 knots. Consuming 100 litres. And then if we just back that speed off and put her into displacement mode, Okay, coming off the plane, just checking my stern wave there. Let's give those windows a wash. There we go. Okay, so from 8 knots, 1,700 RPM, consuming 19 litres, and then we'll just bump it up to 10. Noise levels are super low. 2,000 RPM. You could sit on autopilot at this speed and leisurely enjoy the ride or talk to your friends. No worries at all. From about 2,200 RPM, we're seeing 30 litres consumption and about 9, touching close to 10 knots, depending on these waves. Let's just check 2-3. Just want to see when she starts to dig her bum a little bit. I think sort of 2-3 and up, she feels a little bit inefficient, but we're still only at 34 litres consumption. Let's just give it a little bit more. 2-3, 2-4, 2-5. Yeah, 2,500 RPM. Feels like we're hanging our transom a little bit. But the fuel flow is actually, hasn't jumped too much. It's 37 litres. I think that's something to do with the dead rise flaring out, giving us some lift at the back of the boat, which you could see in some of the footage I took when we were on the trailer. Very interesting. See you in the next location. All right, guys, so we've just found a little local port here, and we're just gonna do a quick sort of touch and go, so to speak. Just wanted to explain, we dropped the anchor earlier for the walkthrough. Hopefully you can see me with that sun behind me. You can operate the anchor via this switch just here at the helm, but we also have this remote control, and that does allow you to both operate the anchor and the bow thruster. So if you need to do a little adjustment with the bow, if you're operating the boat by yourself, you can. So we're literally just gonna nose in to this spare spot over here, just see what these boys are doing. I don't want to be in their way. It looks like he's gonna reverse. Yep, okay, we'll get out of his way. Perfect. Yeah, I'm just gonna do a little touch and go. We'll just go nose in. Simulating Mediterranean style mooring. Boat like this with the engines hanging out over the back, I would go nose in because it makes more sense. Just got a fisherman there, sorry mate. I'll be 2 seconds, buddy. So I'm coming in just on throttles. I've got bow thruster activated and on. Bow thruster is variable speed, so the more pressure you put on it, the more response it will give. Just gonna walk us in here. I've got my hand, there we go, see? And I can just do little bow thrusts. See that? So I can just hold it in position. I'm just sneaking in, and I'm gonna reverse out. 1, 2. Okay, check behind me, all clear. I can see, that's good, excellent. And what I'm gonna do now is actually just transition to joystick, and we're gonna reverse up. I'm gonna have a look at moorings. Okay. And I'm gonna just let the wind take me there. So I've got a little mooring here, so I'm just gonna side slip myself out of the way, go back to throttles, and then get out of the way of this mooring. And then I'm going to let these fishermen know that I'm not in their way. Yep, he's going that way, cool. So what I will do now is just a little station halt. So I've just gone from throttles back to joystick. So I'll actually just press stay point. Okay, that's now taking over. And because we've activated F1, and I've done that deliberately by putting my engines predominantly into the wind, the boat should just hold position, and you might be able to hear the thruster working bit by bit. Obviously it's not gonna be millimeter accurate, it's gonna be within a few meters, so you still have to remain at the helm and in control, or alert and aware. So this is buying you time to move around the boat, prepare lines, prepare fenders, but once you're happy that the boat is settled relatively in the same position, you can actually see, relative to these boats behind us, we're not really moving, and you can see by the flag on top of that fishing boat behind us, the wind is blowing, but it's keeping us in position, and you can probably hear from time to time on my microphone, that's the thruster doing its thing. So that's cool. And then if I just deactivate stay point and go joystick, boom, boom, and then I actually just slide the boat one way. So I'm just pushing the joystick to the side. That is utilizing the engines and the thrusters. So it's much better side slip than what is possible with just engines, because if you just do it with the engines and all the leverage is applied at the back of the boat, once the wind gets up, it's going to take over a little bit quicker relative to what your engines are capable of doing. So when you combine a variable speed electric thruster into a system like this, your life gets a lot easier. Now I'm just going back to transverse thrust, and we'll just see, yep, piece of cake. Lots of power, and I can spin the boat with the motors. So you just got to get used to the joystick system. Don't go practicing it close to other boats the first time you use it, because it's going to feel a little bit different to what you're used to with your hand-eye coordination on throttles and thruster. But once you get used to it, it's literally like a video game. So you can just side slip, twist, and then once you've really bedded into your muscle memory or the back of your brain, your unconscious mind, how big the boat is and where you are, it becomes second nature, like driving a manual car or riding a bike. So yeah, I'd recommend that, especially if you're wanting a bit of a time-saving feature for solo operating the boat, because you can literally just stand off here at the entrance to the harbour, you just press stay point, and the boat will frickin' stay there. So that's it. That's what it's all about. Anyway, hope that was useful. We will go from here to putting the boat up on the trailer, and I think it's time we give you a final wrap up. So that's it, ladies and gents. I'm just letting the boat drift, so I will just put the engines into the sea, and then we'll go to the front of the boat and give you guys the final thoughts on this lovely piece of kit. Okay, hopefully that'll drift. I'll connect stay point if it starts to rock and get uncomfortable. So, Sargo 28, what a neat boat. In terms of giving you a bit of a wrap up on the performance and perhaps some competitors, or where we can put this boat in the market to hopefully help you make whatever decisions you need to for your boat life. Experience required. Whilst I think this boat is going to appeal to the very experienced boaters out there, you don't need to be a highly experienced person to operate this boat. It is very sensibly designed. It's very logically laid out. It's very tough. It's gonna stand up to a lot of beating, basically. The way this thing's been built, it'll stand the test of time. So do you need a lot of experience? Not really. I think an intermediate or up was going to be fine. Do you need crew? Absolutely not. Completely not necessary. Run this boat by yourself every day of the week without question. Life aboard, it is going to be fun. I think you're going to have a lot of adventures. This is going to be a boat that your area of operations will be expanded because of your higher cruising speeds capable on this, and your weather windows that you're happy to go out in will also expand your area of operations because you're not feeling so limited by changes in the weather, whether it's from the sky or from the wind or from the sea. You're going to be fine. Competition. There isn't a lot that directly compares to this, to be fair, because there's so many boats that they look like this, but they're not built like this. Like all of the French mass market brands that have this pilot house look, I would not put them in the same category to this Targa. They are just, you get underneath them, you look in the engine bays or you lift up the hatches, and they're just not built to the same standard. They look similar, they're not similar. There is the Targa 27.2. It's not, I don't think it's the same boat either because it's a different layout, but I understand many of you are going to compare it. I haven't done any testing of the Targas yet, so I can't say whether that is an accurate or fair comparison or not myself. I know quite a few of you are going to put the adventure boats alongside this boat, and maybe for some mission sets it might make sense. But what I would suggest, if you are looking at, say, the Axopar 29, for example, come and have a look at a Sargo, because once you get on this thing and you see the amenities, you kind of fall in love a little bit. It feels like a conversation starter. It's so cute and practical. It's just go and have a look at it. If you get an opportunity, get on board, and I think you'll see what I mean. If you wanted to stack something up with a similar amount of accommodation available to the Sargo, maybe the Nimbus 305, but just remember that's a single shaft drive diesel and it will do half the speed. So if transit times are important to you, well then that's what you got. But yeah, overall, she just feels like a solid little ship that you can tackle anything in. If you want to go in big waves, yes, you're going to bounce around. You'll throw up some water as we did today, because it's not a 40-footer. Hull length still makes a difference when you're going through short and sharp waves. So of course, at a boat of this size, you will bounce around a bit more than the bigger boats. But it's just built like a little tank, so you can totally do it. So yeah, that's it. I love this thing. I understand it. I think for those of you with a clear mission in mind, you will too, and you will get a lot of life out of something like this, because I would have no qualms out of recommending someone who said to me, hey, I wanted to keep a boat for 20 years. You could keep this boat you could hand this boat down to your kids and your grandkids if you looked after it, to be fair. And you cannot say that about every boat on my channel. Some of them are going to be, falling apart in 20 years. So yeah, that's it. I will put some other boats or another boat up on the screen right now for you to do your own homework. That's what this channel is all about. If you notice something that I've missed in the video and you own one of these boats, please get in the comments. Help the other guys who are doing their research. I see regularly some of you guys putting super valuable comments in there. I love it. Please keep it up. That's what this community is all about. I will see you in the next video somewhere in this beautiful world of ours. Thanks again for watching. Cheers, guys.